30. Obstacles distorting the mind, core or chitta, are vyadhi or disease, sthana or dullness, samshay or doubt, pramad, carelessness, and or negligence arising from ego, alasya or laziness, avirati or indulgence in sensory pleasures, Bhranti darshan, conditioned or false view, confusion or delusion, alapta bhumikatva, not grounded or not realistic, and anavasthitattvani or instability. We have to understand this one by one. All these obstacles in our mind is causing vyadhi, disease. All our diseases are caused by our mind. And this mind is causing this because the chit is not under control. The chit is modifying. How to control the chit, the core of the mind? Get to the chetna. Now what are the problems you incur? What are the sicknesses, the illnesses that you suffer from? One is dullness. Inability to grasp something. We have been given such a beautiful mind with a huge capacity. Just imagine you have a computer, and the computer is good. But if you cannot operate this computer, of what use is the computer? You can have the best computer in the world. You must know how to operate it. So this dullness, how to operate this inherent dullness, and this dullness, he will tell you how to overcome this. Another one, beside dullness, is doubt. We are always doubting. Somebody says something, many of us, we have this habit of immediately saying no, or immediately trying to find an excuse. Do this. No, but he won't do it. We have not even tried. We are doubting, not only doubting others, we are also doubting in our own ability to convince people. No, he won't be convinced. No, this will not happen. Try. So that is another one. And then pramad, carelessness and or negligence arising from ego. As long as I am okay, anyone else can die, can happen anything to them. This is combination of all kind of sicknesses, selfishness, carelessness, indulgence in our own ego, as long as I am okay. And this is what is happening in our society today. We are concerned only with ourselves. Even those who are talking about spirituality, they are concerned only with their own enlightenment. I have put Vivekananda's picture there. He says, I will, even if I am offered nirvana, moksha, the ultimate liberation, unless and until the last dog on the street attends to nirvana, to moksha, I shall come back again and again to this world. This is meditation. This is the outcome of meditation, and Patanjali is going to speak about that. And this is why most of the teachers, both in the West and in the East, Even in India, they don't want you to study this because they just want to take money from you, teach you few asanas, you feel fine, you feel good. But that kind of temporary relief will not help you in life. That is not yoga. We have put this statue of Kuan Yin, the Bodhisattva, the lady there. Upstairs also we have got her statue. She is called Kuan She Yin in Chinese. The Sanskrit name is Avalokiteshvara. Both have the same meaning. The one who hears the cries of the people. They say that once Avalokiteshvara, he was a great Buddha, enlightened being. He was almost entering into the domain of the realm of nirvana. But at that moment, he looks below down and he finds so many people suffering, so many people crying for help. And he said, no, I am not going to have nirvana. I will not have nirvana. I'll come back to the earth. I will serve those people. And they say, this Avalokiteshvara, they say he was reborn as Kuan She Yin in China. And many people believe that the Dalai Lama presently is also reincarnation of Kuan She Yin. But let me tell you, it is not a matter of being incarnation or reincarnation of Avalokiteshvara or Kuan Yin. The idea is, as Patanjali will tell you just now, to awaken those qualities within you, to awaken those sensitivities within you. This we'll understand a bit later. Alasya or laziness, that's why here we have chant the morning, afternoon. There is a whole regiment. This discipline is important. The very first two, three verses of Yoga Sutra tells us that yoga means discipline, anushasanam. If you don't want to do discipline, yoga is not for you. Yoga is not about mat yoga. Just do some asana and you are done. No. You'll be surprised. When I was in India for 5-6 years, I was a teenager. We would never hear someone calling themselves yoga teacher. Nobody had this ego to call himself or herself a yoga teacher. What they would do, they would invite us, come, let's do yoga together. There was no certification, no nothing. This certification business also started with an Indian. And now it has become a commodity. I want you, if you have got the book, I want you to read the introduction of this book and the last part, after the sutras are over, at the page 97 onwards. Please read this. If there is a German here, any German here? Jung. Jung was the person who understood that yoga can be dangerous for the Western people if they don't do all this discipline. He knew this and he wrote about that. But many people think, oh, Jung was against yoga. I have quoted Jung there. Jung was not against yoga. He was against Western people to study yoga, to practice yogic exercises without adhering to the discipline, without going through the cleansing part of it. Jung was right. And what Jung says for the Western people back in 1960s or something maybe, now it is true all over the world. You go to India, it's the same thing. They simply sell yoga. They have turned it into commodity. They don't care that yoga is addressing your nervous system. And in the medical science, we have got 3 doctors today. Neuroscience, neurosurgeon is almost at the top. You have to be a general practitioner. After some time you go for specialization. Internist, is it? Yeah? Before you go to neuroscience, before you go to learn neurology, there are certain specialization. You have to pass through all those specialization, and then you become neurologist or neurosurgeon, then you get another specialization. So to play with the nerves, your nervous system, to meddle with the nervous system is extremely dangerous. Just one example which I've been repeating over and over, but this is very important. Do not try to do the Shirshasana, head down and feet up. Those exercises are good if you start it early. If you start your yoga practice, asana practice at the age of 6, 7, 8 years, then yes. Then yes. Otherwise, Shirshasana is not for you, not for us. And up to certain age after that, Shirshasana is not right for you. So there are so many asanas which are not even relevant now, but they keep adding asanas. They keep adding one more asana because everybody wants to patent his yoga. Hot yoga, cold yoga, warm yoga, summer yoga, beer yoga, wine yoga. Everybody wants to patent it, and they have to add something without thinking what they are adding is good or no, or even harmful. So don't be lazy, don't be alasi, do your discipline. Indulgence in sensory pleasures. Here, he is talking about indulgence. He is not talking about suppressing. No. Eating is sensory pleasure. But eating too much, eating too less is not right. Sleeping is sensory pleasure. Sleeping too much, too less. Similarly, sex. Similarly, alcohol. So every master, they have their own disciplinary code. Don't have sex with someone who is not your partner. And there is a deep understanding behind that. Those people who keep changing their partners and they are also doing yoga, no benefit. Women and men, they both must complement each other. If you want to get married and you are already on this path, find someone who can complement your practice. Not just because you are attracted to some looks, you are attracted to his Ferrari, or you are attracted to something else, not because of that. Then forget your practice. It's okay, no problem. Forget your practice. Because there will be conflicting energies. I have written on this subject extensively in Indonesian. I think it's Rahasya Alam or something. Those of you who read Indonesian, I think it is Rahasya Alam. So then, this conflicting energies, conflicting vibrations will suck up all the positive things that you have got through your practices. It's very important that you choose your partner selectively, discreetly. Sex, for us, for the yoga practitioners, it's not even a sense pleasure. It can go to the next level. It can become very sacred. Those people who do not understand it, they go to temples in India, in Solo also, in Central Java, there's a temple. And even the tourist book, it is written erotic temple. There is no eroticism there. There is no eroticism. It's the sacredness of the energy, the creative energy. But that's not the subject today. Condition or false view, confusion or delusion. False view, bhranti. False view is you have read something, or nowadays, let's give a very common example nowadays. Somebody was mentioning to me, you know the greatest university in the world nowadays? Can you know? The number one university in the world that has branches everywhere. Maybe not in China, I don't know, maybe not in China, but almost everywhere, this one university. Nobody knows. WhatsApp University. And this WhatsApp University, this one app university is creating so much confusion. You hear something, you read something. How many of you forward a message without confirming? And even if you want to confirm, who will you consult? Master Google. And Master Google is also filled with so much hoax, so many pages. I have someone from Morocco, is it? Have you been to Baba? Sai Baba? No, but you have been to Thailand, is it? Okay. A lot of people, Sai Baba, my guru, he is no more there now, not physically. So many people talk ill about him, he's pedophile, this, that. I've been with him for many, many years. I didn't see anything. And once upon a time, one of the founders of one big company in the world, I forgot, he was interviewed by BBC. And when he was asked about this question, he said, look, do I have to believe in you because you are from BBC? Or do I have to believe in my own experience? I have experienced him. I have seen him. Have you seen him? No. I am not talking particularly about my guru, but I am talking about the general view. The general view is that we believe just like that. And why we believe just like that? Because one part in our being, one part of our being is triggered. Is triggered by something. We are actually jealous of some situation and we want to degrade somebody. We don't like someone and we allow ourselves to be deluded by hoaxes, by all these messages which have no meaning. We allow ourselves because we can not allow ourselves, but we allow ourselves to believe because we have our own problems. Not grounded or not realistic. Now, not grounded here has a different meaning than our general meaning of grounded. It is not realistic. And once you believe in something not realistic, there will be 1 million people to bully you. When I was publishing my books, my publisher, he gave me an idea. My first book was not selling well. And the second book, when I brought the second book, he said, look, your first book has not sold. But my editor, he really trusted in me. He was my chief editor. Now he's the director of the company. He says, look, I trust in your work and I want to publish you. But I have to convince the team. There are people from marketing, people from production, the high authorities in my company. I have to convince them. And to convince them, I must have something in my hand. Can you agree that your book, this book, I brought 2 books. One book was not selling and I brought two manuscripts. That for these 2 books, you will accept 0 royalty. You can think about this. I said, no, I don't have to think. I accept it. And we published the book. The second and third book, they started selling well. They started selling well and he paid me the royalty. Although the contract says 0 royalty, he still paid me full royalty. But there was a time when there was this wave of books, 7 habits, 8 what, 9 what, 10 tips. He said, look, if you want to have a very bestseller, change the titles. 10 tips to successful sexual life instead of the spiritual aspect of Kama Sutra. He said, don't have to change the inside. The contents can be same. But just change the title. I said, no, I don't want to change the title. But believe me, if I had changed the title, my books would have been on the very, very huge bestsellers list. But we didn't change the title. And I'm happy that my books are selling. Okay, they are not appearing on New York Times. They are in Indonesian. But they are produced, they are published by #1 publisher here. And of course, you cannot expect these books to be read by everybody. But this is not grounded. If you are not grounded, you'll be taken by this storm. Everybody is doing this. And I imagine if I do the same, I will have the same result. I may not even have the same result. I may not. But by doing that, I would have been cheating on myself. So be realistic. Be realistic. I am happy when I was most happy. I was in a rickshaw. You know rickshaw? Yeah? I was in a rickshaw in this is about 20 years ago in Yogyakarta. I was in the bookshop and my hotel was walking distance actually. I would walk normally, but it was raining. So there was a rickshaw puller and he brought the rickshaw towards me. He said, where do you want to go? I can drop you. So got in the rickshaw. And if you've seen the rickshaw here, the one who is pulling the rickshaw, he can still communicate with you. And as we were going, the rain a little bit stopped. He said, are you Anand Krishna? I said, yes. He said, you know what, I've been reading your book. And that got me into some discussion. And when we reached the hotel, I told him to wait, I want to speak to you. I said, how educated? I mean, if you don't mind. Have you been to school? He said, yes, but I did not even pass my primary. How did you get my book? He said, my son, he's studying in another city and he sent me your books. After he reads, he sent me. And then he started discussing about my books. That was the greatest compliment I ever got. That someone who has not even passed primary can understand the contents of my book. That was the greatest compliment. So after that, just a week after that, I remember vividly, a man of literature, very big name in Indonesia, in Indonesian literature, he was interviewed and someone asked him, what do you think about Anand Krishna? He said, no, he's not a man of literature, he's just a popular writer, and who will read him? I've never read him. And this same reporter, they always want to create some sensation, right? He comes to me and he asks me, this guy is talking like this about you. I said, I am blessed that he's talking about me because I'm a vivid reader of his book. I've been reading his books and I'm impressed with his writing. But he says that you're not a man of literature. I said, he's right. So do you think he's right? You're not a man of literature. You have written, at that point, I had written something like 20 plus books, I think. He said, yes, he's right, because I never claimed to be man of literature. My book is in a very popular language. And then I told him this story, that just before this incident, 10 days or 1 week before that, I met a rickshaw puller and he said that he could read my book. And I was very happy. That means my message is going to people, to masses, not only to the academicians and all that. So be realistic. What you can do, you can do. What you cannot do, you cannot do. Be realistic, but not find justification. Before becoming realistic, you have to check the points earlier. Many people think they are realistic, but because they are lazy, they don't want to admit that they are lazy. They don't want to admit that they are deluded. All these points are checkpoints. If you are past all that points, then become realistic. If you have been working hard, you have been working skillfully, you have been going not only extra mile, but extra miles, and then you become realistic. So you cannot just pick one. I want to become realistic, I cannot do this. No. Check the other points first.